What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Captain Cody Davis here with you guys again for another one. And it never fails. I feel like all of my intros to all of my videos here at the house always start with something like, hopefully you guys can hear me, because I kind of live on in a very quiet neighborhood, on a very quiet street, somewhat rural, out in the middle of nowhere. But as soon as I hit record on the camera, either I've got crop dusters flying overhead, I've got cane trucks hauling, loads of cane down the street, making all kinds of noise. And this time I hit record, and now I've got my neighbors drag racing their swamp buggies up and down the street while blaring Kodak. So I don't know. It's just kind of the curse. But hopefully my mics are not picking that up, and you guys can hear me loud and clear. And got something a little bit different for you guys in this one. This is pretty much just going to be a new product showcase. It's going to be a product spotlight, I should say. And it's more or less just me showing off something I'm very happy with. It's a very cool product made by great people, and I just kind of wanted to showcase it to you guys and kind of give them a shout out. So I did something a little bit out of the norm for myself here recently. I kind of just, here's the deal. We're getting into that spring. We're heavily into that spring/summertime mode down here in South Florida. It was 98 degrees today. Literally, it is boiling hot. And this time of year is, you guys know that have been following me for a long time, this is without a doubt my favorite time of the year to really just be fishing in general, but to be out on Lake Okeechobee as much as possible. And for the most part, I genuinely live with a flipping rod in my hand this time of year, really from the month of April all the way through September. Besides, the conditions lining up to throw the frog, schooling fish, throwing a lipless, really other than that, or maybe throwing a white swim jig or a spinnerbait in the morning during a shad spawn. But all of the remainder time on the water for me, in between all of those little nuanced deals, is pretty much spent with a flipping rod in my hand. It's my favorite way to fish. You guys know that. It's the first thing I pick up. It's my confidence deal. And more or less, I just was kind of scrolling on the Instagrams and kind of just decided, you know what, I'm going to order myself a high-end custom flipping rod. And I knew right who to go to. I ended up hitting up my buddy Alex over at Senko Sticks. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of the brand. They're kind of taken over down here in South Florida and really just all over the country. They're shipping rods all over. And I've known Alex for, I don't know, probably going on 10 years or so now. I've kind of ran into him and met him when I first started fishing Lake Okeechobee, back again in the tournament scene when I was fishing with my buddy Matt Weeda. And, well before he had ever even, he was building rods at his house, but not as a business, just kind of building them for himself. And then just through the timeline here, he started a company from scratch. He started Senko Sticks. And here's the deal, guys. I've been around custom rod builders my entire life. All of my snook gear, all of my saltwater stuff is custom built as well. And, when it comes down to it, it takes a very special type of person to make it in the one-off rod business, if you will. When you're talking about putting your hands on every rod that goes out of your door with your company name on it, or in Alex's case, his actual name is on the product. Your quality control has to be top tier. You really got to look things over, and it's meticulous. It's time consuming, but when it comes down to it, I mean, Alex is the guy. When he told me he was going to be going and doing it full time, I told him, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. You fit the bill for starting this business and making it a big deal. And that's kind of what he's done. So I said, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and spend some money. And I hit him up and said, hey, man, I just want a traditional flipping rod, but give me the works. Whatever you think you would build for a rod for yourself, build it for me. And that is exactly what he did. Now, keep in mind, I have a number of, I don't know how many of his rods I own. I do have quite a few. He's built some for me in years past. I just hadn't ordered anything from him as of lately. And when I got my hands on this thing, I was not only super impressed, but just super happy with how balanced it is and everything. But obviously, everything feels great right out of the pack. I wanted to go and test it. And he told me, pull on it, do everything you can, put it through the paces. And I did that. And I've had my hands on it now for about a month. And I really, when it comes down to it, I just couldn't be happier with it. You know, this is not a paid for video. This is something I ordered from him. But I just like shouting out great companies and great products. So that's what I'm doing here for you guys. So I guess I'll kind of show this thing off. So what I had him build me, this is what he's calling his reed beater rod. Okay, it's a 7'6" heavy action, fast, really just a 7'6" heavy action rod, but you know, he obviously designed this blank for this, sorry, this blank for this style rod for basically to excel in flipping. For pitching I'd say I'd use this for anything. You could pitch a 1/2 ounce on it, and you could probably pitch up to like 1 1/4 ounces if you really wanted to. But I texted him after the first day of using this that flipping a 3/4 ounce Texas rigged flipping setup like I have here, this rod is perfection. It really is. It's effortless. It loads perfect. It's got the right amount of tip. It is feather light in your hand, yet super strong. It's got a great bend to the rod. The whole rod loads under pressure. And it's just really everything I'm looking for in a flipping setup. So again, we'll just kind of go over it. He went with carbon fiber grips. He knows everything I own is black. Black's my favorite color. I like dark colors. I have a black boat, a black truck. So he went with these dark, pretty much black carbon fiber grips here. You know, when I first saw it, it looked awesome. I wasn't sure how I was going to like the carbon fiber. I've never really played with it. I've been asked by some other builders, we're getting some of my snook rods built, if I wanted, carbon fiber grips, and I opted out of them. But he put them on here. They're phenomenal. They're super comfortable. They're great. You know, I am a big cork guy, and I obviously like all the foam, but probably going to be looking into this in the future. It's just an awesome material. And he's had nothing but great success with it on those other builds as well. Got a good butt cap on here, which is awesome for when you're digging that thing into your ribs, setting the hook, fighting fish, what have you. It's very comfortable. You don't get bruised as bad. You know, it prevents you from getting any scrapes or anything on your ribs, at least for me. You know, I like to set the hook hard. I use my ribs and my body when I set the hook. You guys know that, so this makes it extra comfortable. Super happy with that. High quality Fuji reel seat, all right, which a lot of people overlook on custom rods, I feel like, right? Or just any rod when you go pick one up. Honestly, the reel seat is probably the first thing I look at. If you don't have a good reel seat, it just, especially when it comes to flipping, right? I'm very picky when it comes to my pitching setups. I always tell people, you give me a 7.4, 7.3 medium heavy, I could throw a frog, swim a jig, throw a big easy, whatever. I can make it work. But when it comes to my flipping stuff, I am very particular. And like I said, the reel seat's one of the first things I look at because it's a lot of close quarters, short, accurate presentations, and it'll fatigue you over time if you're not able to palm your reel and palm the rod correctly. So high quality Fuji reel seat, awesome, fits in my hand, great. And they went ahead, they put a double lock nut on there, which I really like. And then something that he does, which I'm a huge fan of, and I have some of my snook rods built the same way, is he went ahead and I don't have a foregrip on my rod. Okay, he just kind of built me a thread ramp, I would call it, with some epoxy. And that way when I'm holding this rod, my finger is in contact with the actual blank of the rod, which is awesome. It's huge. The sensitivity is through the roof with this thing. You feel every little deal, especially on those free drop, I call it, slackline bites. You feel them ticket. And it's just real comfortable in your hand. It's something that, I always like having my index finger on the blank of the rod. Got a hook keeper there. And then pretty cool here. So he did a Fuji, I believe they call it a reverse guide. It's a siloid. I never can say this right. Siloid carbide. I'm messing that up. It's an SIC guide. SIC inserted guide. It's a Fuji. I believe they call it a reverse. And I've got a lot of buddies on the coast that use these as well. But the big reason for this is it's really to just get the line more in line coming off the reel. So it just helps the action of the rod. And something really cool he did with this, which I wasn't sure how I was going to like, if I'm being honest, was he put foul-proof recoils on this rod. All right. So although recoils are awesome for what they're designed for, obviously there is no insert in them. Hopefully you guys can see that there. It's a little bit blurry. But also, this is kind of what makes them special, is why they call them recoils. They're pretty much like spring-loaded when it comes down to it, right? Which is great if they're getting banged around, kicked around in the boat. Maybe you have kids in the boat and maybe they kick the rod or what have you. This basically keeps inserts from popping out, getting cracked inserts where you get, they'll cut your line over time, things like that. But one thing I was kind of worried about was how smooth the braided line was going to flow through the guides without an insert. Super happy with them. That was one of the first things he asked me, how do you like it? I love it. I really honestly can't notice much of a difference with the line passing through the guides. Very sensitive, very lightweight, but still super smooth. You can still flip that weight into the wind, with the wind, whatever, very effortlessly. I like it. And you guys know I'm super rough on my stuff. This is going to prevent a lot of little small knick-knacky damage in the future. So if you guys are rough on your things, maybe you fish in a boat like mine where you don't have proper rod storage when making long runs or something, you beat them up. Definitely look into these. That's kind of the cool thing with working with someone like Alex is everything is put on this rod by hand. There's no, nothing's just mass produced. Every component on this rod, he himself or someone on his team, which is really either his girlfriend Jen or one of his close buddies who's been wrapping rods with him for forever, has physically put their hands on this rod and put it on there and made sure it was right, which is super cool. Got an SIC tip on here as well. Some little things, we went ahead and they put my Tight Splice logo on there. It's obviously upside down because I have a wall right here. Can't spin it around. But super, just an awesome product, The other cool thing is, Alex, again, is a perfectionist. So he went I don't know exactly all the details with it, but these blanks that these rods are built on are made here in the U.S. as well as, obviously this rod's a U.S. product. It's put together, right here in Loxahatchee, Florida. But these rods are specifically and, exclusively built for them at Senko Sticks. He designed these blanks, what he was looking for what model rods he was building, and he's getting them made. And, it really shows. A lot of people, they just don't know what really goes into a hand-built rod or just designing, whether it's a production rod or not, what goes into designing a rod and making it work right. It's funny when I'm on the boat with customers, when I tell them, you can move this guide right here and then space them all evenly, and moving this guide 4 inches forward or back makes this a completely different rod. It's a very nuanced deal. It's very tedious designing something to do what you want. And that is why I pay a guy and I don't do it. I thought about getting into rod building years ago, and that's not my cup of tea. But this thing's awesome. You guys have probably seen some of his other rods on my channel. I've fished them, but this thing is, again, I texted him for flipping a 3/4 or even a 1 ounce. This rod is perfection. So if you guys were kind of, in the market for just, I don't know, spoiling yourself, getting you something nice, check out Senko Sticks rods. I mean, they do an awesome job. Alex is a fisherman. It's like I tell you guys all the time, one of the big reasons I really push Gambler products is I believe in them. I fish them. But what makes them special is, the owner, Val, me and Alex both, and all of us, a lot of guys that you watch here on YouTube, are going to be fishing against Val this weekend. He is a tournament angler. He knows what the market needs, what people are looking for, hence why he went into, why his popping frog is such a success. He asked the right people to put their input in. He listened, and it made an awesome product. And that's kind of something with Alex. He's very hands-on. He asks you what you'd like. What did you like about the rod? Be honest. What did you not like? And it's super cool. It's probably something I'll probably be ordering another rod or 2 or 3 here in the very near future. But just really can't say enough good things. Here's the other thing. This is a 7'6" heavy. Like I said, it's perfection for light pitching. And I did flip a 1 ounce on it, and it flips a 1 ounce grade as well. But some other, ideas for this same exact rod. I could see myself throwing a Big Easy on this for sure. We'll throw a Big Easy a mile, fish it great. Probably throw like a Carolina rig on this. You could, doubt deep, but I don't really do much of that. This could make for a good swim jig rod, even a good poppin' frog rod if you're okay with a 7'6" rod. But it is very versatile as well. But for this, it's just awesome. I really can't say I've lost a fish. It's held up. I put it through the paces. I loaded this thing. I boat swung everything over the last couple of weeks, and it's pass the test. Obviously, I'm sitting here holding it. So just wanted to showcase that to you guys and just give them a shout out. They're great people. Definitely check them out. Senko Sticks, I believe it's just senkosticks.com. Listen, you can get something custom built, whether you want custom logos, you want custom grips, you want something just, out of the ordinary and something that's just specific to you. You can custom order your products there. Like I said, everything's done by hand. They do have a built to order series, which is it's mostly like kind of drag and paste, cut and paste, if you will. They have a bunch of different options with a bunch of different models of rods that are kind of technique specific, and you can kind of build them with your own, what grips you prefer, reel seat, what guides, what have you. They have a bunch of different options on there just to kind of help speed up the process. It's kind of these little deals that they've perfected over time, and just kind of saves you some money and saves you some wait time as well on these deals. So definitely check them out. They were nice enough. Like I said, Alex is a great buddy of mine. If you guys want to save a little bit of coin, if you're interested in ordering a rod, just use the code TIGHTSPLICE at checkout and it'll save you a little bit of money. And yeah, I don't know. I'm probably telling you guys stuff that you already know. They've been doing an awesome job, and they've been kind of taken over down here in South Florida, and for good reason. They're just a great company. So that's about it. Just wanted to showcase that to you guys and help them out as best I can. If you guys want to book a trip, let me know. I'm going to be taking off a little bit of time in the beginning of June, mainly because we have a little one on the way. He's going to be here in like 3 weeks, which is insane to think about. But let me know. I am booking into mid-June. I think it's going to be a good summer. We're in like kind of a little bit of a drought, although I'm complaining about it every day because of the way my front yard looks. The lake is dropping at a legit record rate, and I love it. Watching people not lock the lower units off, but knock their skegs, bend their props. And although I'm very unhappy for them, it just makes me feel good that the lake's dropping because we need it more than anyone could ever know. So I think it's going to be a good summertime bite. Let me know if you guys want to book a trip. My information is in the description below. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. In the meantime, be sure to drop over to Senko Sticks, check them out. And there's not a technique of a certain type of rod that you're looking for that they can't make you, for sure. If you don't want something, that you can get in the shop. So check them out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later, guys.